Okay, we are going to get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Healthy Together Time. My name is Heather Humphrey, and I'm a certified Optavia coach. And I'm so excited to partner with Amy this evening and share some really helpful tools to really help you throughout the journey, especially this holiday season. And the things that we're going to go over tonight are things that we both continue to practice and work on in our own lives. Now, I know a lot of you probably are familiar with our system, but I just want to do just a quick run through before we get started here. And if you feel like something is lacking with your journey, then I encourage you to take a look and see which one of these components you may need to plug into a little more, and just to keep you moving forward in your goals. So we've got our Optavia coach. We all get a coach, right? Your coach is committed to the healthy habits. And it doesn't mean that we're perfect, you guys, but it means that we're trying to grow alongside you. And we have found that in our company that clients who use their coach for those weekly 5-minute check-in calls, they're seeing double the results than clients who aren't checking in at all. So if you're not taking advantage of this free resource, then you're missing out on an amazing support system and that mindfulness that it creates. Next, we've got our healthy habits or our habits of health transformation system. So this is our education system. And it doesn't matter, how much you think you know or how many times you've lost weight. If you don't have the tools to work on rewiring the way that you think about food and the way that you approach life, it's absolutely impossible to make those lifelong changes. You work through this at your own pace, which I love, and it'll teach you how to increase your health in all areas of your life. Next, we've got our community. Our community is great. You're in it right now. We've got weekly webinars and Facebook groups that you can plug into. And if you're in a place where you just don't feel like you have that support around you and you need that, then I want you to jump in and I want you to be a part of this community. It will help you move forward in your health, I promise. Then last, we've got our scientifically designed fuelings. So our fuelings keep things simple and easy so that you can focus on getting to your goal weight. Now, if you don't know anything about healthy nutrition, that's okay, because there's lots of tools that you can use from the very first day that you start this program that you're going to start working on getting your body healthy. Then as you progress through the system, you will learn more and more, and you're going to learn how to do things on your own. It's so awesome. So our fueling technology makes it accessible to anyone who wants to create better health. Okay. Now let's dive into this. I am excited to share some tools with you guys tonight that are going to really help you create what you want in your life. This is one of my favorite topics. I would say that it's one thing that has made the biggest difference, not just in my physical health, but my mental health, in my relationships, my marriage, really in every area of my life. Now, our topic tonight is going to be on the mindset behind choice versus cheating and help you ditch that diet mentality. And as you're going through the last couple of holidays, you guys are right around the corner and you guys are going to be faced with some more food choices. So we want to give you these tools that you can use to really help you be successful as you wrap out the end of the year. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is this little something that we call the drama triangle. So have you guys ever found yourself thinking something along the lines of, gosh, why is it so much harder for me to maintain a healthy weight? Or why do they get to eat like that? And then they're still so skinny. It's just not fair. Because I'm the kind of person that I'm like, if I look at a brownie or I look at a cookie, I swear to God, I gained 10 pounds. Okay. So it's not bad if we've had these thoughts along these lines, because we all have these thoughts at some point or another, but it's good to be aware of when our mindset is actually shifting into one of these positions on the drama triangle. Now, the one that I was just describing is called the victim mentality. So this is where we're thinking things like, why is this happening to me? And it's not fair. So now I want you to shift here. Have you ever found yourself thinking things like, man, it is so hard for me to be healthy or to get healthy because my spouse is always bringing home treats and filling my pantry up so I can never lose weight. It's all his fault. It's all my husband's fault that I can't stay on track with my goals. This is one of mine. I was like, man, my family are picky eaters. They won't eat the lean and greens that I'm making, so it's their fault that I have to make 2 separate meals every day. Now, you guys, this is the villain mentality where we're always looking for someone or something to place blame on. And finally, we have the hero mentality. Now, this is where we kind of want to avoid conflict and we want to be like that people pleaser. So heroes tend to want to like swoop in and save the day. And actually, they end up being more of an enabler, if anything. So when we place blame on others, we give away our power and we surrender our control because we're placing the cause and the reason outside of ourselves. So when we can decide that we're going to be the dominant force in our lives, we actually take back our power and our responsibility. You guys, it's empowering. It's a great place to be because the cause now lies within ourselves. Now, I want you to understand the different mentalities in the drama triangle because later Amy's going to share with you how to actually shift from drama triangle when we're like totally giving away our power to moving into the empowerment triangle where we get to be in control and create what we want in our lives. The way that we think and the way that we talk to ourselves makes a huge difference in how we start to think things, how things are. So, oh, I had a cheat day, or I'm going to just have a cheat meal, or I'm going to have a cheat weekend, or thinking things like, I'll just get back on track after the holidays are over because it's just too hard to stay healthy during the holidays. You guys, that becomes a diet mentality. And diets don't work. So one of the keys to being healthy is really getting rid of that like all or nothing mentality. Now, we actually tend to think that our health journey is going to be like this linear way of being. So it's going to look like this perfectly straight line, right? So from here's where we are, and this is where we want to be. But in reality, there's going to be lots of ups and downs, you guys. There's going to be so many ups and downs along the way, just like the image shows. So that's why it's so important to get rid of that all or nothing way of thinking, especially during the holidays. And you guys, did you know that the average American gains 7 to 9 pounds during the holidays? And I'm kind of guessing that's coming from the all or nothing way of thinking. I'll just get back on track once the holidays are over. And I'm very familiar with this space because this used to be me decades ago until 5 years ago when I started my health journey right in the holidays. This was the season I was in back in 2017. So here's the thing. There's always going to be something going on, right? It's called life, holidays, travel, vacations. So we can't blame it on those things because that would be that kind of villain mentality that I was talking about earlier. And you guys, if you think about it, we have 17 days left between now until New Year's Day. So let's say you're following the healthy habit recommendation where we teach to eat 6 small meals a day. Okay. That's 102 choices that you get to make healthy choices. So even if you decide to make a choice that you just can't live without the desserts at your company work party, or you have to have all the traditional dishes on Christmas Day. So let's just say you made a couple choices for meals or events that didn't fully align with your health goals. You still have 100 good choices that you can make that's going to get you that much closer to your goal. So instead of having that all or nothing mentality, I really want to encourage you guys just to realize that you have the choices and you can actually have what you want in life and be in charge of creating that. Okay, so I love to share this document. So this acronym, BLASTED, is one of my favorites. It's been so helpful since I've started on my health journey. So I'm going to teach you some really good questions to ask yourself so that you can really start doing that self-analyzing. First of all, though, I want to share, you need to know your why, okay? You need to figure out what do you want and why do you want it? You guys, this is your driving force that's always going to keep you moving forward. So whenever you have a craving or there's a food choice that doesn't really support your goals and align with what you've set out to do, you have a decision to make, okay? And let's run through these. So here are some questions that you can ask yourself to increase that awareness and keep you moving in the direction that you want. Now, you want this food, so I want you to ask yourself, am I hungry? Okay, then ask yourself, okay, do fruits and veggies sound good right now? Because you guys, if those don't sound good, most likely you're not hungry. Another thing you can do, ask yourself if you're thirsty. I always say, try drinking a glass of water, wait 30 minutes and see if you're still hungry. Another good one, ask yourself if you're emotional. Because most times craving unhealthy foods is an indicator that we are going through something. There is some sort of emotions going on there. Then you can ask yourself, are you blasted? So this is a great acronym that you can use because you can look at this and say, okay, do I have any of these following feelings? Am I bored, lonely, angry, stressed, tired, excited, or depressed? Evaluate where that's coming from because we tend to avoid our feelings and we end up eating our feelings. Okay. So as we identify these feelings, they're actually going to start to go away. It's like you start to just take ownership of what's going on. Now, another great question to ask yourself. I love this one because I found when I kind of went through these, I'm like, oh my gosh, I swear to God, I've said every one of these. Am I falling for a food fallacy? Okay. A food fallacies are basically, it's just a belief system and a justification. So here's some really common ones for you when you may say, I have to eat that because it's free, or it's a rare opportunity. I never get it. This one was big for me. I shouldn't waste food. Okay, so I want you guys to think of this. You can either waste it, think of your waste, or you can waste it by throwing it in the trash. I paid good money for it. I should probably eat it. I'll be missing out on all the fun if I don't eat it. And I love food so much. I'm a foodie. Okay. So I love this because it's like this feeling of like, I'm never going to be able to lose weight because I love food too much. Okay. That's not true. All right. You'll see that your relationship with food gets better and better as you get healthier. So ask yourself, are you going to be mad at yourself and regret the decision? It's not worth a few seconds of flavor on the tongue to have all these emotions that are going to last for hours. Because a year from now, will you truly regret not eating that brownie or that cake? Or will you be proud of yourself for sticking to your goals? What do I want to have happen? What do I want most? And what are my goals? I want you to go back to that as often as you can. So this is just a great way to practice and really observe yourself when you're faced with a food decision. I don't want you to feel guilty for choosing the food. It's not, if that's what you decide, okay? It's actually not about the food and whether or not you had it. It's more about you being consciously aware of your choice. If you are aware of your choices, you're going to be able to guide yourself. But I don't want you wasting any time feeling guilty about the decision, okay? I want you just to really kind of sit back, observe, and experiment with that because over time, you're going to begin to see that your worst days, you guys, it's going to be your best data. So I just encourage you to be curious and open as you navigate your health journey. So I'd like to invite Amy on to share a tool that will really help bring some self-awareness around this. She's going to teach you how to break that stimulus response that triggers reactive behaviors and gains control of your automated brain and subconscious mind. So Amy, if you would love to just come on and share with us.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Excited to be here tonight. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about now is our Stop Challenge Choose. So this is a very simple yet powerful tool that can be applied not only to our health, but to every aspect in our life: parenting, work, relationships, communicating with your spouse, whenever you're making a choice. So for example, let's say you happen to be driving by a Crumbl cookie. Seems to be the big thing nowadays. So many people are obsessed with that place. You've had a really stressful day. The kids have been driving you crazy. You're stressed about the holidays. You haven't eaten lunch. And your sister made a comment about the way you're parenting your children. And you know Crumbl Cookie just released their double fudge peppermint Christmas cookie. And you have the thought come to mind, I need that cookie. It's been a crappy, stressful day and I deserve it. So pulling into the cookie store, or before pulling into the cookie store, or if you have made it and parked your car and you're ready to go in because you have had that thought in your mind that you need that cookie. First thing, just know you aren't obligated to obey that thought that enters your mind that you need that cookie. So stop and pause and take a couple deep breaths and assess the situation. Then move on to the second step, which is to challenge that thought or the situation. So the thought that enters your mind is that you need that Christmas cookie. And let's be real here. Are you only going to have one cookie? Ask yourself some questions. Will eating a cookie make my day less stressful? Is eating the cookies going to erase the stressful day I have? Will I feel better or worse, or even the exact same after having the cookies? Or will you still be stressed, upset, and angry at your sister? Does eating the cookies support my long-term goals and what I really want, or is it just what I want in this moment? Once you've challenged that thought, we move into the third step, and that is to choose. Make your decision and remember, whatever it is that you do decide was a deliberate choice and not a cheat. So whatever you chose is a choice, not a cheat, since you are deliberately making a choice. Once you have acted on that choice, no matter what it is, it's important not to speak to ourselves unkindly, go into judgment of ourselves and think that that was dumb. I always fell at this. Why can't I control myself? The way we speak to ourselves after making that choice really is extremely important. Food does not make us bad, although it may make us feel bad and even physically bad. So maybe you did decide to go in and get the cookies and you feel physically sick after eating it with a horrible stomach ache from eating it. Or you're upset and discouraged because you got off track with your eating plan and you set a goal for yourself, and now you feel you've thrown it out the window. It is never helpful to talk down to yourself, shaming yourself, or beat yourself up. Begin with compassion and curiosity. Ask yourself, what could I have done differently? Not what should I have done differently, but what could you have done differently? And try that next time. We get the opportunity to make the choice every few hours in fueling our bodies and be in alignment with our health goals, if that's what you want. So just get right back on track with your next meal. One of the worst things that we can do is to have the perfectionism or all or nothing mentality and then say, well, shoot, I just ate the cookies, so I've ruined it today. Now I'm going to have the chicken Alfredo, double cream pasta, garlic cheese bread for dinner, and then some of that Christmas fudge that the neighbors brought over. And then I'll start tomorrow. Oh, but then tomorrow's Friday, so I better just go the weekend and then I'll start back on Monday. The sooner you can make the decision that you are not on a diet, you can start telling yourself you are on a health journey to become the healthiest version of yourself. Then your thoughts and actions will follow, and you don't have to beat yourself up over having something not quite on plan or giving yourself the permission of eating off plan when you choose to. It doesn't mean that you're only going to allow the healthiest choices for life and never can have a little something, extra when you want, but the majority of your choices is choosing the healthier options for life. And that's what makes this a lifestyle and not a diet. One of the best things that this program and teachings gives us is empowerment. Knowing that we are and can be in control is such an incredible gift. Those of us in Optavia know this program is not a diet. And if you are here and you don't know this, listen in. It's not a diet. Honestly, it's so much more of what we think rather than what we eat. We can stop playing the victim and being in the drama, believing and blaming the reason we aren't healthy or can't get to our health goals is because your coworkers bring in donuts every day. The neighbors are bringing over all the holiday goodies that you need to eat. You can't walk outside to get the steps in because it's now winter and it's too cold outside. Your spouse loves for you guys to binge on Netflix every weekend and order all your favorite takeout and ice cream and eat ice cream in bed because that's what we do. We have 7 more holiday parties to go to. I'm never going to lose this weight. Moving from the drama triangle of blame to empowerment and what can I choose differently here? Think of the situations as opportunities to help you get better, and they are actually empowering you to take ownership of your choices. Because if you are waiting for your coworkers to stop bringing in the donuts, your spouse to stop tempting you with greasy takeout, the holidays to be over, the weather to warm up, to go outside and walk, these temptations or situations to pass. I have news for you. They aren't. Life happens, and that's always going to be something that you can count on. There's always going to be the next thing coming up, events, birthdays, vacation, barbecues, summer. It's up to you to want to see a change and how to handle the situations. Take control now and see what you can do in these situations. Ask yourself, how do I want to show up? What does the best version of me decide to do here? What does healthy, fit Amy choose in this situation? How can I get my steps in today? What can I choose to eat differently instead at the holiday parties and still enjoy? What does the calm, present mother in this situation do? Here's a couple of life examples, not necessarily food related, but going from the Stop Challenge Choose and empowering. Let's say you're in the mall parking lot trying to find a parking spot to get some Christmas shopping done. It's snowing, the parking lot is packed, and you finally see someone is about to pull out of their parking spot. You're waiting for them, your blinker is on, and you're ready to go. Someone comes from around the corner, jumps in that spot. You may get upset and have the thought to jump out of your car and start yelling and say it was your spot, cause drama, embarrass your kids who are in the car with you. Or you can pause and shake your head and go find the next spot, which could be in the front row. Or you can say to yourself, well, I've gotten a lot more steps in today by parking further away. Or if you're out at a restaurant and there's a long wait, when you are finally get seated, it takes forever to get your food. You can get upset at how long it's taken and want to talk to a manager and say this is unacceptable. Or you can stop and think, wait, this poor girl has been running around here helping probably double the tables she should have, because so many people nowadays don't want to show up and work anymore, leaving the restaurants and service industry way understaffed. She was kind, helpful, and the food was good. And you could choose to even write a thank you note on the receipt acknowledging for her to show up, and then maybe even leaving a double tip. Based on these principles of what we've learned tonight, you can see there are many options that you can choose versus being the victim and living in drama or being empowered. Remember to challenge the thoughts that come up to mind, and we don't have to obey those thoughts. Stop, challenge, choose is a skill we can practice every day. And the more we consciously practice this, it becomes a habit in every area of our life. So again, what are the key principles of Stop, Challenge, Choose? When we are triggered, have a negative feeling or thought, an unhealthy environment, we stop, take a deep breath, maybe a few. Dr. A even suggests drinking a bottle of water as you take the time to pause and assess the situation. Breathe and center yourself first. Then challenge, why am I feeling this way? What outcome do I want? And what will happen in either decision? And then you deliberately choose it with the awareness that whatever happens, and let it be. And it was a choice versus the cheat, sorry. And then you deliberately choose it with awareness, and whatever happens, let it be. And lastly, remember to stand in your own empowerment. Let's take one moment here and put ourselves in the empowerment zone. I want everyone to close your eyes and say out loud to yourself, I am actually in control. I am actually in control. And you can feel that empowerment in yourself rise up. Each one of us gets to be the creator of our life story. And if we don't like the path it's leading, we can always start today and go in the new direction of where we want to go and who we are becoming. Get out of the victimhood and the drama, choose empowerment, and repeat, I am actually in control. So now we are going to have Jenny Lingston share a story of how she's used these tools.
Hey guys, thank you for inviting me to share tonight. One of the biggest blessings of my journey with Optavia is the blessing of self-awareness. We can't change until we create awareness first. So I want to tell you a little bit about my story. For many years, I lived in victim mentality. How I saw life is that it was happening to me. I found myself trapped in the thought patterns, thinking like, things just never work out for me. This is just the way it is. And this is just life, and there's just not a lot I can do about it. I was so focused on this that guess what? I attracted more of that. So there came a point where I truly had had enough. I was tired of feeling this way, and I knew I wanted to change. So I started to really think about and create awareness around habits and patterns that were keeping me stuck. And one thing I began doing is moving from the there's never enough mentality to there's more than enough. I just needed to start noticing that there was actually so much to be grateful for. I began recognizing and celebrating the good things in my life. So this shift, this little change in changing to gratitude helped me move from scarcity to abundance and from victim to creator. I learned that if you want to change your life, begin by changing your story. Changing my story has changed my life. Just one example of many that I thought of that would be fun to share this holiday season, since we are surrounded with treats and traditions all over the place that don't really serve us most of the time or our goals. So growing up, I was the cookie baker and the dessert maker, like extraordinaire. As a member of my family, there were 7 children. I was the treat queen, and I loved it. I loved creating things in the kitchen, and my family would always ask me, especially on Sundays, like, what are you going to make today? What is our treat going to be? And this became part of who I was. It became really part of my identity. And subsequently, I brought this to my marriage and to my family, raising my kids. And remember that part that I talked about creating awareness around habits and patterns that are keeping us stuck? Well, I knew this was a big one for me. Not only did I love to bake, but I love to eat it too. Anyone can relate? And because I knew myself so well, I decided it would be easier to avoid it altogether for a time as I worked on shifting my mindset and really just working towards changing my lifestyle. So I remember making a conscious decision to stop baking, to keep my environment safe. This was huge for me because, like I said, this was part of me. But as I started making these changes, my kids started to notice. And when we attended a party with some sweet treats available, my kids would say, Mom can't have that. And I quickly learned to reframe that and to let my kids know that I can have that. I just choose not to right now. This powerful shift in moving from feeling deprived to feeling empowered is so huge. So instead of focusing on what I was losing, I was choosing to focus on what I was gaining. And what I found is that with consistent practice and repeated successes, making these incremental changes in my life, my story began to change and my results reflected that change. What was happening on the inside began to reflect change on the outside. So in closing, for this simple example, I learned that what you've experienced in the past isn't who you are. It's not even what you do unless you choose to keep repeating it. Your history isn't your identity. You are free to let go of past patterns. So this doesn't mean that I'm always perfect at this, you guys, but it does mean that I am in the driver's seat of my choices now. It's shifting from I should or I have to I get to, I choose to. We do have the power to change. So I have been now coaching for 5.5 years now. I can't believe that, but it's been amazing. And coaching has been this added layer on my journey. It's helped me fine-tune these mindset shifts. And I love how it keeps me focused on my health and what I want to truly create in my life. I love watching my clients have these breakthroughs too and utilize these tools to become the dominant force in their life. So thanks for letting me share tonight, guys.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for sharing your story. So powerful. And you guys, hopefully tonight you heard some things that really resonated and really clicked and gave you the confidence that you can stay on track with your health through the holidays and any event that comes up. Stepping into that self-empowerment, making that shift from the drama triangle to the empowerment triangle, just by asking yourself simple questions. So I am so sorry. emergency. So what you practice this season sets you up for the next and all the upcomings, okay? So next Wednesday, you guys, we are going to be rolling out our 90-day challenge. It's simple, okay? So you're going to do a 10-minute meditation every day, set up a healthy body and finance goal, and be accountable to a buddy. And I want you guys to think about what could happen as you start to prioritize your health and your well-being, okay? The challenge is going to start January 2nd, so make sure you tune in next week for the details and how you can participate. So I want to thank you guys for joining Healthy Together tonight. And for the next 30 minutes, we actually have 2 breakout sessions. Many of you are loving the health program and actually have asked for some more information about how to be 500% more likely to reach and maintain your healthy weight long-term, and how to reach into the community and bring others along with you on the journey, or how to improve your health and your finances. That will be the topic in this room, so you'll stay here. But we're also going to be offering a breakout room for any newer coaches with our Coaching Quick Start class. So otherwise, we'll see you next week at 5:30 Pacific, 6:30 Mountain Time. So now just a few